When my parents decided to adopt Dang Yongyang, I quickly moved out of the house. I've cleared the space. From now on, she is your real daughter. We'll meet again if fate allows. Being the cannon fodder in a family favorite story, I decided to give up in this life. If Dang Yongyang wants my parents, she can have them. If she wants my brother, take him. If she wants my childhood friend, he's all hers for free. Oh well, that surely caught them off guard. 1. On the day Dang Yongyang married my childhood friend, I died, my soul hovering in midair. I arrived at their wedding venue. The banquet was set in a 5-star hotel, lavishly and dreamily decorated. I must admit, my parents really spared no expense for her. Amidst a relaxed and joyful atmosphere, I saw my biological parents and brother, one by one, going on stage to offer warm and touching blessings to the newlyweds. They chatted, took photos, and drank toasts together, until my brother, Guijo, received a call from the police station. 2 minutes later, with an expressionless face, he simply said, "I see," and then hung up. Brother, who was that on the phone? Dang Yongyang, in her pure white, dreamy, and beautiful wedding dress, spoke with a hint of coquetry. "It's no one." Guijo shook his head gently, adoringly looking at her. To not spoil Dang Yongyang's mood, he even hid the news of my death from her. Actually, it was entirely unnecessary, because just before I died, Dang Yongyang had called me. It was she who had signaled her crazy admirer to stab me to death. How could this bitch not know that I was already dead? Dang Yongyang looked up at Guijo with a radiant and joyful smile. "Thank you, brother. And thank you to mom and dad for everything you've done for me. I truly love you all so much." Fuck, even as a ghost, I couldn't help but curse. Dang Yongyang was always good at saying these cheesy, useless pleasantries. After all, it cost her nothing, and it kept these fools utterly devoted to her, so why not? As expected, Guijo was profoundly moved. He held Dang Yongyang tightly and kissed her forehead gently. "No need to thank me, Yongyang, you deserve all of this." The two shared a knowing smile. I was so angry I couldn't stand watching anymore. Just as I rushed over to give Guijo a fierce kick, the scene before my eyes suddenly shifted, changing like scenes in a movie. After a dizzy spell, I was reborn, too. I was reborn at 16. On the day my family moved into a riverside villa, Dang Yongyang was the daughter of my father's good friend. Her biological parents died in a car accident, and as no one was willing to adopt her, she lived in a local orphanage for several years before my father found her. And by then she had only been at our house for 3 months. Her life was tragic, yet she was resilient. She was alone, yet kind and adorable. Nobody could help but love her. Just 3 months after she arrived at our house, feeling sorry to keep her living in the attic, my parents actually bought a riverside villa for her, and this is when I was reborn. I heard my father's excited voice. "All right, kids, go pick your own rooms. Any room is fine except for your mom and dad's master bedroom." I remembered. On the day we moved into the new house, our parents let us each choose our own rooms. Dang Yongyang and I both eyed the room on the second floor facing south. Not only did it have a luxurious bathtub, but it also had floor-to-ceiling windows facing the sparkling river view. With this in mind, I decisively headed upstairs. "I want this room." After I told my dad that, Dang Yongyang also came over. Her expression instantly brightened. "Wow, this room is so beautiful. Mom, can I live here?" Dad paused, startled. I had already anticipated Dang Yongyang's reaction and replied coolly, "Are you deaf?" I said I want this room. Hearing my blunt retort, Dang Yongyang immediately looked flustered. "I'm sorry, sister, I really didn't hear you. If you like this room, you can have it. Honestly, any room would be fine for me. Compared to my room in the orphanage, this is heaven and earth. Mom and dad have been so kind to me. I'm really afraid I won't be able to repay you." The same old sugar-coated words, though they sounded incredibly fake. Some people were genuinely moved. "Sinyan, why don't you let Yongyang have this room, and you take the one downstairs?" Dad hesitated before speaking. Mom chimed in, "Yes, Sinyan, the rooms upstairs and downstairs aren't much different, and Yongyang really is quite pitiful." The same scenario, the same words. However, unlike my shocked and bewildered feelings in my previous life, this time my heart was serene. "Mom, Dad, let's get this straight. I am your biological daughter." My parents exchanged glances, then Dad continued, "Sinyan, your mom and I have decided to formally adopt Yongyang. From today on, both of you are our dear daughters." Dang Yongyang covered her mouth in disbelief, tears brimming in her eyes. "Really, Mom, Dad, are you really willing to adopt me?" Guijo also looked surprised and pleased. "You're adopting Yongyang?" Mom nodded affirmatively, her eyes full of tenderness. "Yongyang, now I really am going to be your mom." Dang Yongyang threw herself into my mom's arms, her tears streaming down her cheeks. "Mom, thank you, Dad. I really love you so much." I couldn't help but retch. Due to the particularly loud sound, everyone turned to look at me. Guijo frowned deeply, clearly displeased. "Gu Sinyan, what are you doing?" "Sorry," I apologized, waving my hand. "I might be pregnant." As soon as I said that, everyone stared. Then I remembered that I was only 16 at this time and slapped my forehead in annoyance. Wrong. I mean, I might have a stomachache. Mom and Dad looked somewhat speechless. Dang Yongyang's tears stopped midway, and her emotions were suddenly disrupted by my comment, leaving her looking quite awkward. "Since you're adopting Dang Yongyang, I'll just move out. I don't want this room anymore. I'll clear out the space, and from now on, she can be your biological daughter. We'll meet again some other time." With that, I started to push my suitcase, ready to leave. "Gu Xinyan," Dad called out angrily, "don't be too willful." "Who's being willful? I just don't want to be the dispensable side character anymore. Nor do I want to end up betrayed and dying miserably on the streets in this life. Dad, I'm serious. It's either Dang Yongyang or me, you, and Mom decide." "Xinyan, what has Yongyang done to upset you? Why have you become so selfish?" Mom's face fell as she scolded, with my full support. Dang Yangyang's spirits returned, her eyes reddened, tears streaming down as she pleaded, "Dad, Mom, please don't fight over me. I'm not worth it." "Enough." Gu Xinyan, Guizhou hugged Dang Yongyang, shouting at me, "Apologize to Yongyang." Now, I rolled my eyes. No wonder I couldn't stand up to her in my previous life. This life, I refuse to continue like this. So what if I'm just a minor character? Can't I go on strike? Can't I distance myself from this family? Can't I seek my own happiness? If this place doesn't appreciate me, I'll find somewhere that does. Goodbye. Big brother, if you want to apologize, do it yourself. I'm not sticking around. Seeing that I was serious, my dad frowned. "Gu Xinyan, you're still a minor, and we have custody over you." "Indeed, I'm not yet an adult. If I were, the first thing I would do is move my household registration and stop having to deal with all this nonsense. You can let me stay, but first, I don't agree to you adopting Dang Yongyang. She can only stay with us temporarily. Second, this room must be mine." No discussion. My dad remained silent, watching me quietly. After a while, he finally spoke calmly. "We've made up our minds about adopting Yongyang, and that won't change. As for the room, Xinyan, you already have enough. Why must you compete with Yongyang for it?" Despite foreseeing this outcome, my heart still ached uncontrollably. What do I have? I used to have parents and a brother who loved me, but now, they've been taken by Dang Yongyang. If I don't leave now, I'll end up like I did in my previous life, watching Dang Yongyang win over my parents and brother. The day the favored female lead has her happy ending is the day I'll end up dead on the street. I sighed. Then there's nothing left to discuss. "I'm sorry, Dad. You were the one who pushed me away first. From now on, my life has nothing to do with you." Finally, my dad lost his temper. His voice fierce. "Gu Xinyan, can't you understand reason? If you walk out that door today, never come back." "Xinyan, apologize to your dad right now, or even I can't help you," my mom said sternly, glaring at me. Dang Yongyang, who had been weakly leaning on Guizhou, now opened her eyes wide, a triumphant smile flashing across her face. She didn't even try to hide it. In my previous life, I often saw that smile on her face, when I fought tooth and nail for this room and still lost. She smiled just like that. I still remember how thrilled and delighted Dang Yongyang was when she moved into this room. "Thank you so much, sister," she said, her mouth thanking me, but her eyes gleaming with triumph. The joy and pride of victory were evident in her gaze. My parents took her and Guizhou on trips without me. When they returned, Gu Yongyang gave me a tea-scented smile and said, "Sister, Mom and Dad were worried that going on the trip would distract you from your English exam next week, so they didn't take you along. You're not upset, are you?" It wasn't just me who had exams, Guizhou had them too, yet, because there were only 4 tickets available, my own parents chose to take this adopted daughter on a trip instead of me. Later, I asked my mom sadly why she did that. "Xinyan, you've already been to Beihai, haven't you? Yongyang has never been on a trip. Don't you think she deserves a little pity?" That same line again. Why should I care whether Dang Yongyang is pitiable or not? It's not like I made her an orphan. What about Guizhou? He's been there too. Mom was at a loss for words and could only compromise by saying, "Next time we go on a trip, we'll make it up to you." Naively, I believed her. In this world, what parents wouldn't love their own daughter more than an adopted one? But as it turns out, they exist, and I had to encounter just that. My parents began to frequently forget about me. They would take Guizhou and Dang Yongyang to the movies, and I wouldn't know until they returned at night. A family of 4 went for an outing in the countryside, and I only heard about it weeks later from them. Dang Yongyang increasingly acted coquettishly around our parents because it worked wonders. One day, she expressed her wish for an iPad, and the next day, Dad bought one for her. In the morning, she mentioned wanting a particular handbag, and by evening, Mom presented it to her as a gift. She had already surpassed me in my parents' hearts, even receiving more pocket money than me. Guizhou was worse, turning into a total sister spoiler. Of course, not spoiling me. Instead, he took Dang Yongyang around and introduced her to his friends. Every time he came back from playing sports, he brought her favorite bubble tea. He splurged on tickets for her to go see her favorite idols in concert, because Dang Yongyang disliked little cats. He even discarded the cat I had raised for years without a word. Devastated, I cried, but my dear brother casually remarked, "Why bother with such an animal? It almost scratched Yongyang last time. It should have been thrown out long ago." In fact, my cat was always well behaved and never attacked anyone unless provoked. My dislike for Dang Yongyang grew, while the rest of the family became increasingly fond of her. In my previous life, I could never understand why this was happening. It was only on my deathbed that I figured it out. It turned out that Dang Yang was the beloved main character of a group favorite novel, and I was just a disposable side character. Everything smooth for 15 years was merely setting the stage for her arrival, this life. I refuse to endure it any longer. It's just death at worst. I want to see if she can still have her happy ending if I don't follow the script. Apologies are out of the question. I will never apologize in this lifetime. Take care, Mom and Dad. Half a month later, I moved into the most prestigious mansion in City A's wealthiest district. In this place where the average house price was $400,000 per square meter, I truly learned what the phrase, "every inch of land is worth its weight in gold," meant. A woman in a flowing white gown approached me with a cheerful smile. "Sinyan, godmother." I cracked a brilliant smile at her. "Did you bring all your luggage?" "Just this little." "Yes, I brought everything. I don't own much." "Good. I'll have Assis take you to your room on the 3rd floor." "Thank you, godmother." Assis, like me, was in his 3rd year of junior high but was already much taller than me, at least 183 centimeters. With the handsome and refined demeanor typical of a wealthy family's young master, exuding a presence that could be summed up in just 4 words, reserved and distant. Brother Louis, on the other hand, has a more gentle demeanor and appears more cultured. Both brothers are extraordinarily handsome, the kind that could mesmerize anyone effortlessly. No wonder wealthy people like to marry celebrities. It guarantees good looks for the next generation. After all, Mrs. Liu was once famed for her stunning beauty that triumphed over others, winning her the beauty pageant crown of her time. The elevator reached the 3rd floor. I pushed open the door. Despite being mentally prepared, I was still astounded by the sight before me. The room was so spacious I could run inside it. Luxurious crystal chandeliers, elegantly vintage European-style beds. Through the glass, the entire city's nightscape was in view, truly befitting of an $800 million mansion. I gave Louis a slight smile. "Thank you, young Master Liu." He nodded slightly, perhaps feeling too aloof, and added softly, "You're welcome." After Louis left, I walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows. All was quiet around, yet in the distance, neon lights flickered, homes lit up beautifully. I never expected our City A to have such a serene and tranquil place. The view here definitely surpasses that of our riverside villa. I can't help but remark, the life of the wealthy is truly simple yet grand. The next 2 days were for final exams. I had previously lied about breaking my leg to get a week off from the class teacher. Finishing the exams also marked the end of my junior high days. Just as I reached the school gate, I saw my dad's car. It seems he was here to drop off Dang Yang for her exam. She's my classmate who transferred to this school 6 months ago. Truly a great dad. Sister, what a coincidence. Dang Yang saw me and waved happily. My dad's gaze fell on me. His originally gentle and loving expression instantly turned very cold. I knew he was waiting for me to humbly bow my head, deeply regret my recent actions, and ideally, burst into tears begging for his forgiveness. As I walked closer, "Hello, Uncle Gu." As soon as I spoke, the person opposite turned livid, his eyes suddenly ablaze with anger. "Gu Sinyan, what kind of attitude is that?" I shrugged. "It seems I shouldn't have greeted you. Next time, I'll just act like a stranger, right?" My dad looked at me intensely, extremely disappointed. "Gu Sinyan, if you don't move back home within 3 days, don't bother returning ever again." "Okay, Uncle Gu." With that, I walked away without looking back. After lunch, I returned to the classroom. Dang Yang was inviting the whole class to her birthday party. As classmates took the invitations, they all showed envious expressions. "Wow, Dang Yang, your house is in Shangshi, Jiangnan. Aren't the houses there very expensive?" "It's more than just expensive." My dad said it's all villas there, each worth at least 20 million. "Dang Yang, your place isn't a villa, is it?" Dang Yang covered her mouth, smiling broadly. "My home is indeed 2 stories, and right across from the river view. Wow, I want to go. I want to go. I've never seen what a riverside villa looks like." Me too, me too." The classroom was buzzing with excitement. After a while, Dang Yang approached me with an invitation. Her face brimming with pride. "Sister, will you come to my birthday party?" Facing her triumphant expression, I took the invitation without a second thought. "Sure." Her smile froze, she clutched the invitation tightly, unwilling to let go. I knew Dang Yang just wanted to show off by inviting me. Just to add to my troubles, she didn't really want me to attend her birthday party. If I casually greeted our parents there, her status as an adopted daughter would be exposed. She wouldn't dare do such a thing. I said sarcastically, "Aren't you inviting me to your birthday party? Let go of the invitation then." Dang Yang forced a smile. "Sister, if you're busy, you don't have to come." "Who said I'm busy? I'm very free." Her hand still didn't loosen, and she put on a troubled expression. "I'm just worried that if you suddenly show up at home, it might upset Mom and Dad, who have just started to feel a bit better these days." I gave her a cold smile. "Aren't you overstepping your boundaries? They are my biological parents." Dang Yang looked at me deeply, the fake smile fading from her eyes. She couldn't pretend anymore. "You might not know yet, but Mom and Dad have decided to send me to Hanlin Academy for high school. Since you voluntarily gave up on this family, you should stay far away. Why come back and humiliate yourself?" Her words didn't surprise me. In my past life, Dang Yang attended Hanlin Academy. This school is famous nationwide for its high tuition fees and excellent faculty. One term costs 300,000 yuan, and 1 year is 600,000 yuan. Guizhou, who was in the same grade as us, also went to Hanlin Academy, together. Just our tuition fees amounted to 2 million yuan a year. Why do I say our? Because I wasn't there. I attended a very ordinary high school because I had good grades, while Dang Yangyang's were poor. Xinyan, you are academically strong, and it wouldn't matter where you study. Yang is different. If she doesn't work hard during these 3 years, she won't be able to get into a good university. I heard Hanlin Academy hires top teachers, so mom and dad decided to transfer Yang to that school. This is what my mother told me in my past life. And what my father did to me, I cried and protested, even starved myself. But nothing changed their minds. They firmly enrolled Dang Yang in Hanlin Academy. It's unbelievable to outsiders. Sending the adopted daughter to a school with tuition fees of 600,000 yuan per year, and the biological daughter to a school costing only 10,000 yuan, and no one in the family saw anything wrong with this. Every night at the dinner table, listening to Guizhou and Dang Yang discuss the interesting happenings at their elite school was more painful than torture. Eventually, I chose to board at school and never went home again. Memories end. I was about to mock Dang Yang when a familiar voice suddenly interrupted. Yang. A flicker of emotion crossed the depths of Dang Yang's eyes as she looked at me strangely. The next second, she fell backwards. Jiang Chen's urgent voice came through. Gu Xinyan, what have you done? It has to be said. Dang Yang still had some tricks up her sleeve. She had set me up again, helped up by Jiang Chen. Dang Yang's eyes welled up with tears as she sobbed pitifully. Brother Jiang Chen, I just wanted to invite my sister to my birthday party and find a chance for her to clear up any misunderstandings with mom and dad, so she could move back home, but she pushed me to the ground without saying a word. Jiang Chen glared at me furiously, his tone full of disdain. Gu Xinyan, are you sick? Looking at this childhood friend who was once inseparable and always chatty with me, now he couldn't even bear to look at me. I kept my emotions in check, my gaze icy, right? Do you have medicine? He choked on his words, then angrily retorted, I'm warning you, don't mess with Yang at school. She's not someone you can bully. Which eye of yours saw me bullying her? I saw it with both of my eyes. Jiang Chen, let it go. Dang Yang grabbed the agitated Jiang Chen, gently biting her lip while speaking pitifully. My sister must still be upset about the time I gave you her love letter. I'm sorry, sis, it wasn't intentional. I just wanted to help you because I thought you liked Jiang Chen and he should know. Hearing this, Jiang Chen's eyes flashed with realization, and his tone was filled with disdain. Gu Xinyan, there's no chance between us. I like Yang. Please stop deluding yourself. Whispers began to circulate around them. Some looked on with glee. What's going on? Did Gu Xinyan confess to Jiang Chen? Seems like she got rejected. What kind of plot twist is this? The childhood friend loses to a new challenger. Wow, what a dramatic scene I've stumbled upon today. I looked at Dang Yang. Her expression was innocent, like a deer, but her eyes sparkled with smugness and provocation. She had only been in my house for 2 months when she took a love letter from my room and handed it to Jiang Chen. I had written it before the new year, intending to confess, but never did for various reasons. Yet, Dang Yang, without my consent, decided to deliver it, later claiming, if you like someone, you should proclaim it to the world with naive enthusiasm. I think she's really treating me like a fool. So, the darling of the story, huh? Alright then, let the games begin. 2 months of summer vacation passed quickly, and the school year began. Luxury cars gathered at the entrance of Hanlin High School, all there to drop off students. Uncle Wang respectfully opened the car door for Louis, and then approached me. No need, Uncle Wang, I'll do it myself. I smiled at him and stepped out of the Bentley. Walking up to Louis, I deliberately took his hand. Noticing his slightly surprised look, I raised an eyebrow. Big brother, why are you looking at me like that? In just a couple of seconds, Louis's handsome face returned to its usual calmness. Letting me hold his hand, many new students looked our way, whispering among themselves, my god, who is this guy? He's totally my type. Quick, I want all the details about him in 3 minutes. Who's the girl next to him? Could she be his girlfriend? Oh no. I think I'm heartbroken. She must be his sister, right? Didn't she call him big brother? Louis's prominent status meant he was thoroughly scrutinized on the first day of school, and by association, I also became the talk of the town, right after the first class. My deskmate Joshua couldn't contain her burning curiosity and eagerly asked me, Xinyan, are you and Louis actual siblings? Nope, I was adopted, I replied nonchalantly, shaking my head. She immediately got excited. Wow, what sort of golden koi-fish life do you have? Being adopted by the school director's wife, does their family need more children? I want to be adopted too. I chuckled, sure, I'll ask my mom tonight, if the director's wife doesn't need more children. Can you ask your big brother if he needs a girlfriend? I can adapt to any style, whether it's a sophisticated lady or the girl next door. Joshua's eyes sparkled with stars. No problem. Also, if your elder brother doesn't like me, could you please ask your other brother if he might? I've had a crush on him for a very long time. It feels like it started in a past life. Please give me a chance to be considered your sister-in-law, miss. Aren't you being a bit too greedy? 9. Before I knew it. It was already noon, most of the girls in my class had become familiar faces around me, and several asked if they could join me for lunch. I hadn't realized before how easy it was to make friends. Even though I hadn't done anything special, they seemed to have already accepted me as one of their own. During lunch, the seats to my left, right, and across were all filled. It was obvious that these girls came from wealthy families. The watches on their wrists alone could pay for a semester at Hanlin Academy. Even Joshua, who was chirping about wanting Mrs. Liu to adopt her, turned out to be the only daughter of the chairman of the Yang Group, a company worth over 10 billion, right now. Miss Zhou was trying to get information about Liu Xuan from me. Gu Xinyan. A sudden and unexpected voice rang in my ear. I looked up, meeting the puzzled face of Dang Yangyang. She, a girl with short hair, was walking side by side with another, holding their lunch, probably looking for a place to sit. Hi, what a coincidence. I greeted her nonchalantly, then turned back to Zhou Shuai to continue our earlier conversation. Dang Yangyang didn't leave. She watched me with an odd expression. She seemed confused and frowned slightly. What are you doing here? Her question was rather amusing. I had to look up again and respond. What else? Eating lunch, of course. Dang Yangyang scoffed with a tone of contempt. Don't tell me you also study here. Her words were clearly meant to mock, drawing curious glances from others. Who are you? Joshua looked displeased. Dang Yangyang straightened up. And who are you? Why do you care who I am? Don't you see we're talking? You. Dang Yangyang was about to retort, but was stopped by the short-haired girl beside her, who subtly shook her head. Sorry, Miss Zhou, we didn't mean to disturb you. The short-haired girl seemed wary of Joshua and earnestly apologized before quickly pulling Dang Yangyang away. They sat down far away. Dang Yangyang's gaze was heavy, occasionally falling on me. 10. After school, I was waiting for Lu Yixi in the second-floor corridor. Dang Yangyang seemed to have been lying in wait, pulling me into the stairwell. Gu Xinyan, what's going on here? I turned off my phone, my tone lazy. What? She looked incredulous. Since when did you become the daughter of the school director? What's it to you? I was too lazy to deal with her and turned to leave, but she pulled me back. Dang Yangyang's lips curled into a cold smile. Don't you want to see the look on your parents' faces when they find out you've become the school director's daughter? Why should I care about their expressions? I've already cut ties with your family. I shrugged nonchalantly and added, I learned that from you, after all. Other people's parents are always better, aren't they? Stung by my retort, a sharp emotion flashed through Dang Yangyang's eyes. I didn't stay any longer, waving casually as I walked away. 11. As Lu Yixi and I were leaving the school, Uncle Wang's car was already parked by the roadside. Miss Xinyan, here's your milk tea. Before opening the door for me, Uncle Wang took a warm cup of milk tea from the car's cup holder. I had only mentioned in passing that morning that the milk tea from the new shop at the corner is quite good, and he had remembered. Thank you, Uncle Wang, I said sweetly. You're welcome. Suddenly, I turned to Lu Yixi and asked, do you want to try this? It's really good. Lu Yixi, who was unexpectedly brought into the conversation, looked at the milk tea in my hand with reluctance. No thanks. Just try it. He shook his head firmly. All right, never mind then. As the car passed the next intersection, I felt a bit stuffy and casually rolled down the window. Just as I turned my head, I saw Dang Yangyang and Gu Yizhou standing under a bus stop sign. They were waiting for a bus. My dad, no, Gu Hongbin. Although he had made a decent amount of money in the past few years, we had just swapped our house and the annual tuition for Dang Yangyang and Gu Yizhou wasn't cheap. With mortgage and tuition fees, the financial burden was significant. It seemed they definitely didn't have extra money to hire a driver, so the kids had to settle for the bus. When Dang Yangyang saw me in the car, her expression changed slightly, her eyes burning with intensity, her hands clenched into fists. Gu Yizhou looked extremely surprised, as if he couldn't believe his eyes, and called out my name, Gu Xinyan. Such bad luck. I rolled my eyes at them and unhesitatingly rolled up the window. The light turned green, and the car sped away. Wednesday. The last 2 periods in the afternoon were for club activities. I was in the anime club, which I had been dragged into by Zhou Xuesheng. It didn't really matter to me, I was just there to fill a spot. The president of the anime club, a senior wearing glasses, mentioned that she needed to prepare for college entrance exams in the coming year and would be busy, so she was looking to recruit an assistant to help with some daily tasks. Would anyone like to volunteer? After some inquiry, a crisp voice came from the corner. I would. I looked in the direction of the voice and, unsurprisingly, it was Dang Yangyang. That was typical of her, always eager to take on such tasks. It was a chance to stand out and exercise some privileges. Okay, you're in. The president decided definitively, once all the members were present. The president mentioned that every new semester, Hanlin Academy's anime club hosts a cosplay party, and this term was no exception. Today's meeting is to discuss the venue for this cosplay event. The room immediately buzzed with excitement. Some suggested renting a hotel, others proposed renting a boat. President, why not have it at my place? Dang Yangyang started her usual antics. Ever since her family moved into the new Riverview villa, she seemed to enjoy showing off, like before, and like now, I secretly mocked Dang Yang in my mind, despite being the beloved protagonist of a story. Her perspective was shallower than a children's pool. She still hadn't realized the gap between her and her classmates. The president, hearing her suggestion, agreed without much consideration. After all, renting a venue costs money, and if someone was offering a place for free, why not? Since the cosplay party was set at the Gu residence, I certainly wasn't going to attend. However, during the second club activity, I overheard the collective complaints of the members. My gosh. Their house isn't even as big as my garage. I can't believe she had the nerve to offer it. Exactly. And there wasn't even a single maid. We had to run around just to get something to eat. Let's not even talk about it. They didn't even have a driver that night. My dad's car was involved in an accident, and our driver had to go to make a police report. I wanted Dang Yang's family driver to take me home, but she actually told me they didn't have a driver. Can you imagine? Dressed up as a bunny girl, I had to hail a cab online myself. It was so embarrassing. It was such a drag. I wasted the outfit I had custom made in Korea and left after just 3 minutes. After the girls finished venting, they walked out of the restroom, complaining loudly. I turned on the tap and saw the last stall being pushed open. Dang Yang's face was as dark as charcoal, mixed with humiliation and indignation. She stiffly walked out. Our eyes met. Her expression grew even uglier. I calmly washed my hands, ready to leave. Gu Xan. She abruptly stopped me. I stood still, looking at her coldly, stiff-necked and with a look of disdain. Dang Yang said, even at my worst, I'm a million times better than you. I have a mother who cherishes me, a father who loves me, and a brother who dotes on me. What are you even worth? I understood she was upset, but who gave her the audacity to take it out on me? And what are you worth? Only your poor parents would treasure someone like you. Everyone has a brother. For someone like Gu Yizhou, even licking Louis C's boots is deemed too crude. You haven't seen my brother Louis Sun yet. Compared to him, Gu Yizhou is less than a maggot in a latrine. Dang Yang's face twisted with hate, her eyes almost bursting with fury as she glared at me. I actually quite enjoyed her current state. Know your place. Don't try to fit into a class that isn't yours, even in Hanlin Academy. There are hierarchies. You should have some idea of where you truly belong. Clearly infuriated by my words, she swung her hand at me, but I quickly grabbed her wrist. You better think carefully about whether you can afford to provoke me. She bit her lip hard, motionless. I scoffed coldly at her. 14, perhaps due to receiving too many complaints, the president announced that this year's Anime Society cosplay party would be held again. It's important everyone speaks up. This might also be my last time attending the cosplay party at Hanlin High, and like everyone else, I hope it can be a grand event. The club members cheered again and began to offer suggestions. If any club member could provide a venue, that would be ideal. It seems our president has taken the lessons from last time to heart. Zhou Shui looked at me excitedly. Xan, why don't you talk to the school director's wife and let us have the party at your place? I might never be your sister-in-law. But before I die, I just want to set foot on the sacred grounds of No. 1 Mansion. Can you fulfill this wish for me? Seeing her playful expression, I couldn't help but smile. I thought about it and then nodded. All right, I'll talk to my mom. She was stunned. Are you serious? Yes. Our place is pretty suitable. Should meet the president's requirements. Zhou Shui started shouting excitedly. Damn, that's No. 1 Mansion. Isn't that where no house is under 2,000 square meters? Hearing Zhou Shui's words, the president was thrilled. Really, Xan, you'd really let us have the party at your house? I need to talk to my mom first, but it shouldn't be a problem. For a moment, the whole room buzzed with excitement. The screams nearly lifted the roof off the house. Everyone was buzzing with excitement, discussing what to wear for the big day. Xinyan, which character does your brother like? Tell me, quick. Zhou Shui shook my arm impatiently. I like Princess Elsa. I blurted out. Really? Someone with sharp ears quickly joined in. What about your second brother? He likes Anna. There were murmurs of surprise all around. At that moment, I didn't realize that these two careless remarks were like shots of adrenaline to the girls. Mrs. Liu readily agreed to my request and enthusiastically asked which character I wanted to cosplay. I hadn't really decided yet. What about your classmates? Speaking of which, I'm not sure. But there should be some dressing as Princess Elsa and Princess Anna, Disney princesses. Huh, okay, I got it. I'll have someone prepare an evening gown for you, guaranteed to dazzle everyone. Mrs. Liu patted my shoulder with confidence. Thank you, Mrs. Liu. Out of caution, I added, but please. Nothing too extravagant. I'm afraid I might not pull it off. No problem. Can I cosplay as the evil queen then? She was clearly getting into the spirit. It's true that every woman harbors a young girl's heart. I laughed. Of course, you can. She then enthusiastically discussed my character. How about Princess Aurora? A true love's kiss from a prince could wake her up. How romantic. I'll even arrange a handsome prince for you. Cinderella would be nice too. Thank you, Mrs. Liu. I said sincerely. Silly child. She touched my forehead. I should be thanking you. On the night of the party, the Liu residence almost turned into the premiere of Frozen. Everywhere you looked, there were Princess Elsa's and Anna's. When I saw Zhou Shui, perfectly embodying Elsa, make her grand entrance, I was stunned. My goodness, Xinyan, you look absolutely stunning today. Which princess are you? I think Sleeping Beauty. Oh wow, this dress is too beautiful. It's nearly blinding me. And it looks so familiar. Not just her. I dared not even look in the mirror, despite my repeated requests to Mrs. Liu for something not too flashy. It seemed she hadn't listened. The dress, which Mrs. Liu had urgently airshipped from a collector abroad just a few days ago, had even appeared in a fairy tale movie before. Thank you, you look beautiful too. Is your brother Liu Ishuan at home today? Zhou Xuan never missed a chance to mention her crush. He said he'd be back today, should be home soon. After chatting briefly with Zhou Shui, more people came to greet me, all the girls dressed to the nines. At first glance, you'd think you were in a fairy tale world. Soon, I saw Dang Yongyang. She was wearing a simple dark green long dress with a plain headband, and I wasn't sure who she was cosplaying. But her dress looked quite plain and cheap, probably bought online, and it paled in comparison to the intricate, brightly colored gowns around her. Who is she playing? Cinderella. Probably the Cinderella who hasn't transformed yet, still scrubbing pots in the kitchen. People openly mocked her. Dang Yang tried to ignore the stares of others and walked into the hall, pretending to be calm. When her gaze landed on me, she was momentarily lost. Her eyes lingered on my dress for a full half-minute. A surge of jealousy crazily took over Dang Yang's cheeks, almost distorting her beautiful features. I calmly enjoyed her reaction. Hexan Yen. A clear voice called out from the other side. I looked over and saw a face as gentle and beautiful as jade. It was Liu Ishuan. It's you, brother. I quickly walked over, giving him a radiant smile. Liu Ishuan sized me up slightly. Princess Iroh. He even knew the character I was cosplaying today. Sorry I'm late. His words made me laugh. I forgive you, my prince. May I have the honor of a dance later? That depends on your sincerity. Liu Ishuan's eyes slightly lifted. His peach blossom eyes deep as pools, a warm smile playing on his lips. Luckily, I've brought a gift today. With that, he magically produced a dazzling pearl necklace. I was genuinely surprised. You're giving this to me? Yes. It took me a long time to find it. Liu Ishuan helped me put it on. The cool touch brought a strange feeling that rose from the bottom of my heart, but I quickly suppressed it. Thank you, brother. By the way, how is father doing? Hearing my swift change of topic, Liu Ishuan pursed his lips, smiled lightly, and then nodded. He's recovering well, can walk now. And the doctor said he should be fully recovered next month, so, you'll be going to school soon, end of this month. Liu Ishuan was in his last year of high school. He had been delayed because his father, Chairman Liu, had an accident and needed surgery abroad. Knowing that Chairman Liu was alright, I felt relieved. Thank you, Yen, you've saved our family. Suddenly, Liu Ishuan hugged me. Sincerely whispering in my ear, I hugged him back. No need to be polite, it's what I should do. Throughout the party, Dang Yang's gaze followed me like a shadow. She even followed me when I took the elevator to my room on the 3rd floor. Gu Xinyan, you've awakened the plot, haven't you? I looked up, displeased. What are you talking about? Dang Yang stared at me intensely, trying to find clues on my face. Don't deny it, otherwise things wouldn't have developed like this. She wasn't stupid, of course. I wouldn't admit it. Are you crazy? She stared at me, her eyes filled with a dark scrutiny. How did you come to know Liu Ishuan and his family? What does it have to do with you? Get out. I need to change my clothes. She glanced around subconsciously. Is this your room? Or is it yours? Dang Yang clenched her fist, jealousy and hatred emerging in her eyes. It was understandable. Just the size of my room could easily surpass the total area of the 1st floor of her family's villa. Not to mention this was the prestigious #1 mansion. As the favored female lead in a group pampering story, she couldn't accept the scenario of a minor character turning her life around and utterly overshadowing the main heroine. You don't need to say it. I can guess. You saved Liu Ishuan's father, right? Impressive, changing the fate of our city's richest family. If it isn't awakening the plot, what other reason can explain it? As a minor character, not only did you deviate from the script, but they've even started resorting to underhanded tactics. Gu Xinyan, if I could snatch the first opportunity from you, I can snatch it a second time too. Dang Yang did not bother to hide her hatred towards me, her expression fierce and intense as she provocatively challenged me. I lazily looked at her and chuckled lightly. What's the matter? Tired of your dear dad and mom so soon? I thought you'd have some genuine affection for them. TSK, they'd be heartbroken to hear you say that. Your official partner is Jiang Chen, and the beloved brother Guizhou is an important male character in this story, according to the setup. You and Jiang Chen are supposed to get married right after graduation and live a life full of love, having children. Are you sure you want to jump out of this warm and comfortable, easy mode and forcibly change the plot? Aren't you afraid of irreversible consequences? Dang Yang stood still, her eyes piercing like X-rays, as if trying to see right through me. So you finally awakened. So what if I have? Her tone was cold and sharp. You, just a cannon fodder, dare to dream of changing the ending. Everything is up to us. I've changed the plot, and I'm living just fine. I won't let you have your way, and who are you to stop me? Dang Yang suddenly became furious. Because I'm the female protagonist, this world must revolve around me. The mockery on my face must have been very obvious, or Dang Yang Yang's expression wouldn't have looked so ugly. Are you done talking? If so, leave. I need to change my clothes. I changed into a more striking and beautiful green court dress and descended the stairs. As the melodious piano music started, I danced a dance with Louis Xuan. I indulged in the attention of the entire room, every girl present watching me with envy. As the dance ended, Zhou Shui approached me, her tone somewhat emotional and sour. Actually, you and Louis Xuan are quite well matched. What are you talking about? He's like a brother to me. He's not really your brother, and besides, the way he looks at you doesn't seem like he's looking at a sister. I didn't really want to discuss this topic. Tonight's flamboyance was not really my style. It was all out of necessity. After the dance with Louis Xuan, I saw Dang Yang leaving alone. Now, it was time to see the results. A few days later, I received a call from my father, Gu Hongbin. He demanded that I come home that evening. This was the first time in months he had initiated contact with me. At 7 in the evening, Uncle Wang dropped me at my front door. Miss Xinyan, do you need me to accompany you upstairs? I shook my head. No need, Uncle Wang. Just wait here for a bit. All right. My father glanced at Uncle Wang's car, his expression complex, under the watchful eyes of Guizhou and Dang Yang. I calmly walked into the living room. What's the rush in calling me back? Is something the matter? My mother came forward, showing a concerned smile. Nothing serious, Xinyan. We just missed you and wanted you to come over for dinner. Where have you been all this time? How have you been? After over 3 months of her biological daughter's disappearance, she finally thought to ask this question. I glanced at the dining table, which indeed looked lavish, and nodded nonchalantly. I've been fine, but I'll skip dinner. I still have English homework to do. If there's nothing else, I'll be going now. My mother paused, seemingly not expecting me to reject her so straightforwardly. Now you're really something, huh? Do I really need to beg you just to have a meal together? My dad said, his voice dripping with sarcasm and his expression full of disdain. Say whatever you want. I really don't have time. I'm leaving now. Sit down. My dad suddenly shouted, his voice booming as if releasing a long-held frustration. I knew it. I was holding back frustration too. His macho temper wasn't new. It was usually manageable, but he would erupt into rage whenever opposed, for the past few months. He must have been waiting for me to have a miserable time outside, hoping I'd return home and kneel before him, begging for forgiveness for days on end. Unfortunately for him, not only was I doing fine, I was actually doing quite well and had even started calling someone else my parents. He must have been furious inside. I eventually sat down at the dining table. It wasn't that I was afraid of my dad. I was more curious about what he was up to. I heard you're living at No. 1 mansion now. Yes. How did you get involved with the Liu family? Chairman Liu had an accident while hiking. He fell off a cliff, and I saved him. My dad snorted coldly. So you just decided to adopt them as your parents? I had nowhere else to go at that time, and they thought I was an orphan, so they adopted me. Is there a problem? With a loud snap, he slammed his chopsticks down on the table. Gu Yizhou looked at me sarcastically. Gu Xinyan, isn't this a slap in the face for your parents? You really went out of your way to climb the social ladder. I like it that way. What's it to you? Dang Yang, with his innocent, doe-like eyes, timidly said, brother, don't talk about sister like that. I believe she had her reasons. I nodded. I indeed had my reasons. Their house is too nice. Their son's too handsome, and Mrs. Liu is too beautiful and kind. I've always wanted a mom like that, because I genuinely wanted to be part of their family, so I agreed. The faces across from me turned sour. My mom looked hurt. Xinyan, Mom, sorry. It's like how you felt when you first saw Dang Yang and really liked her, hoping she could be your daughter. The first time I saw Mrs. Liu, I really liked her too. You don't know how beautiful and graceful she is. I truly wanted a mom like her, so you understand, right? My mom didn't respond, only silence followed. Enough, Gu Xinyan. Did you come back just to upset your parents? Gu Yizhou couldn't hold back anymore and burst out, of course not. I'm just telling the truth. Now that I have brothers like Louis Si and Louis Xuan who are the heartthrobs of the entire school, who would even remember you? Gu Yizhou's face turned an ashen hue, his lips pursed tightly, unable to utter a single word. Seeing everyone silent, I put down my chopsticks. Sorry, it seems I've ruined this meal. I think it's best I leave now. Xinyan, my mom finally called out to me. What? She hesitated, then said, sorry, I really neglected you before. I apologize. Can you forgive me? Of course, I can. I smiled, devoid of any real emotion. She breathed a sigh of relief. You've been living with Chairman Liu for so long, we must have caused them a lot of trouble. Your dad, and I would like to visit them. When can we arrange a time? No need, my dad. Chairman Liu is currently abroad and hasn't returned yet. Mrs. Liu is usually very busy with work, so she doesn't have much time to meet with guests. You haven't even asked? How do you know they don't have time? Because I really don't want to make the appointment for you. My mother frowned and spoke in a dissatisfied tone. Why is that, Mom? Whether you just want to visit or have other motives. It's easy for others to tell. The other party paused slightly. What are you talking about, child? You know exactly what I'm talking about, Gu Xinyan. Is this how you repay us after we've raised you all these years? My father, with a cold expression, finally spoke up again. I rubbed my forehead and sneered. You are my biological parents. You raised me until I graduated and now you want credit for that. Don't worry. I will repay you for all these years' expenses. And once I turn 18, I will move out and we won't have to deal with each other anymore. Fine, very well, you ungrateful child. Get out now. Just leave, all right. I won't disturb you any longer. Goodbye. I quickly got up, fearing they might change their minds. 21. I thought I had made my position clear enough, but obviously, others didn't take it seriously. Early Saturday morning, the butler, Mr. Lin, told me someone was looking for me when I saw who it was. It turned out to be Dang Yang, sister. She walked towards me, carrying a lunchbox with a joyful expression, her face beaming. Mom made soy beef, your favorite from before. She specifically asked me to bring you a box. Here, Dang Yang looked at me, her eyes curving into crescents, her gaze smiling, innocence written all over her face. There are no taxis or buses near mansion number 1. She must have walked here, sweat evident on her forehead. Anyone who didn't know better might think we were close. She came all this way on foot early on a weekend just to bring me a box of soy beef? I don't need it. You can take it back. No reward without service. Besides, I was wary she might have tampered with it. Sister, are you still mad at me? I'll do anything to make it up to you. I can even move out immediately. Mom and Dad really miss you. Please come back with me. Dang Yang's ability to lie through her teeth was truly remarkable. Who she was trying to fool with her pitiful act was anyone's guess. Whether you move out or not has nothing to do with me. Don't use that as an excuse to see me. Take your lunchbox and go back. Dang Yang looked even more aggrieved, tears ready to fall. Sister, I really hope you can forgive me. I'll do anything. I glanced at her indifferently, just as I was about to speak. Just then, Lu Ishuan, dressed in a white t-shirt and black pants, came down from upstairs, pausing slightly when he saw Dang Yang's situation. Lu, Sr., Dang Yang turned her head, feigning surprise, and cautiously called out. Lu Ishuan's clear and questioning gaze slightly lifted. And you are? Dang Yang instinctively looked at me, bit her lip lightly, and timidly continued, Senior Lu, my name is Dang Yang. I'm a freshman at Hanlin Academy, and also, Gu Xinyan's sister. Lu Ishuan nodded in realization, politely greeting her. Hello, Senior. Dang Yang's voice was soft and melodious, and coupled with her sweet, demure appearance that hinted at more to say, she was indeed a pleasure to watch. Why are you two standing here so early in the morning? Please, take a seat, Miss Dang. Dang Yang hesitated symbolically for a few seconds before finally accepting. Thank you, Senior. 22. It turned out that Dang Yang, the beloved heroine of the group, really had something special about her. Just one morning, and it seemed she had already made a connection with Lu Ishuan. The next day, Sunday, Dang Yang repeated her actions and visited the Lu family. Continuing with the same story as the day before, sister, are you really not going to come back with me? The key was that while she spoke, she kept an eye on the movements upstairs. Her intentions were as clear as day to everyone. I could see that one of the most important traits of a group's beloved heroine was to have a thick skin. She was lucky, for not long after, she indeed ran into Lu Ishuan. Their interaction was fruitful today. They even added each other on WeChat when leaving. I saw Dang Yang's lips curling up in a smile she couldn't suppress, and her gaze towards me returned to the cold, challenging look of the past. 23. A few days later, I unexpectedly ran into a distraught Jiangchen at school, in a stark departure from his usual spirited demeanor. He was humbly pleading with Dang Yang. Why haven't you answered my calls these past few days? I've been busy. Yang, what happened? Nothing happened. Jiangchen, stop bothering me. Dang Yang's face was filled with impatience, and her tone was thick with disdain. This was a stark contrast to the lowly Jiangchen at that moment. I had always thought that Dang Yang liked Jiangchen a bit, given his handsome looks, which many girls in school had a crush on initially. His family was also well off, with his parents running a factory that brought in a neat sum each year. In a previous life, it didn't take long after Dang Yang came to my house for her to win Jiangchen over. The two were inseparable and passionately in love, getting married right after graduation amidst everyone's blessings. And they were a very happy couple. Unexpectedly, a mere action by me, this inconsequential female character, could also change the fate of the male protagonist, Jiang Chen. Dang Yang clearly was no longer interested in him. She was now setting her sights on Lu Ishuan under my aggressive pursuit. Although Jiang Chen's family had some money, it was nothing compared to the old money of the Lu family, which could crush him in an instant. Not to mention that even in terms of looks, Jiang Chen couldn't compare. How handsome is Lu Ishuan? To put it in Joshua's words, Lu Ishuan was so handsome that every strand of his hair seemed like it had 800 girlfriends. It's just that this wasn't some domineering CEO novel, but rather a simple school romance story. Male protagonist Jiang Chen wasn't depicted as having an outrageously handsome and powerful character, but as a rich, gentle, warm, and handsome guy. If it were like in the previous life, where I, this insignificant female character, was madly in love with Jiang Chen and didn't meet someone as extraordinary as Lu Ishuan or live in a top-tier wealthy area like No. 1 Mansion, Dang Yang's feelings for Jiang Chen would still be as good as before. Unfortunately, Dang Yang was destined to be restless. Watching me, the insignificant side character, rise above and live a better life than hers was more unbearable for her than death. 24. On Friday evening after school, I, Zhou Shui, strolled on the pedestrian street for a while. When I got home, I was surprised to find Dang Yang sitting on the sofa in the Lu family's living room, with butler Lin holding a medicine box. Lu Yixuan stood tall beside them. I frowned. What happened? Everyone turned around. I saw Dang Yang's trouser leg rolled up high, with blood flowing from her knee. Butler Lin held the medicine box, apparently ready to tend to her wound. Sister, Dang Yang seemed a bit flustered. I was speechless. It was the same old act again. Doesn't she ever get tired of acting? What exactly is going on? After Lu Yixuan explained everything, I finally understood the whole story. Dang Yang came to Mansion No. 1 to find me and just happened to bump into Lu Yixuan, who was out for a run. They saw a kitten entangled in the wire mesh by the flower bed. Dang Yang volunteered to rescue the kitten, but ended up getting cut by the rusty wire, which is why she looked like this. Lu Yixuan had no choice but to bring her back first to clean the wound. This plot, it seems vaguely familiar. In my previous life, Dang Yang and Jiang Chen adopted a dog together, named Pudding or something. It was said that they found a dying puppy during an outing, and Dang Yang decided to adopt it after rescuing it. This dog also became a beautiful witness to their sweet love, as it was the first time they adopted a pet together. She was Pudding's mom, and Jiang Chen was Pudding's dad. Later, I inadvertently learned that the puppy was actually deliberately injured and abandoned on the roadside by Dang Yang. She staged this scenario because Jiang Chen liked dogs, aiming to advance their relationship. Glancing at the dirty little white cat beside me, a sweet and sticky voice suddenly rang in my ears. Senior Lu, don't you think it's cute? Should we give it a name? How about Pudding? Dang Yang's beaming face came into my view. Sure enough, she was trying to make Lu Yixuan the male lead. Jiang Chen liked dogs, Lu Yixuan liked cats. She really knew how to appeal to their preferences. I looked towards Lu Yixuan, who was also looking at me. Our gazes met. How about calling it ugly monster? It really is quite ugly, don't you think? I said coolly. Lu Yixuan's eyes flickered, his tone teasing. It really isn't very good looking. Dang Yang's expression stiffened, and her smile faded slightly. 25. Naturally, the little cat ended up staying at the Lu residence. It became Dang Yang's wingman, increasing the frequency of her visits to Mansion No. 1. Even Mrs. Lu got to know her, occasionally having a few words with Dang Yang. I often heard noisy voices in the garden. Pudding, come here, come to mommy. Soon, she might say, Pudding, go to daddy. In the evening, when I went downstairs, I saw Lu Yixi idly playing with the little clown cat. Brother, what brand of cat food did you feed Pudding last time? She seems to like it. Dang Yang moved closer, her tone carrying her unique coquettishness. As she realized what she said, a blush appeared on her face. Sorry, Lu Yixi, can I call you a brother like my sister does? Lu Yixi didn't make a fuss and just nodded indifferently. Suit yourself, brother, she called out, beaming. I suddenly stopped in my tracks. Dang Yang's ambitions seemed even greater than I imagined. Not only did she want to make Lu Yixuan the male lead, but she also wanted to switch Lu Yixi into the role of Guizhou. She wanted to catch both brothers in one go, then she would completely take my place. 26. When Dang Yang was about to go home, I called her upstairs. I'll go back with you. What? She slowly raised her head. You wanted me to move back, right? I agree. Help me with my luggage. Let's see what excuse you'll have to come here then. Dang Yang, as if hearing some incredible joke, crossed her arms and looked at me with arrogant provocation. Gu Xinyan, what are you, to ask me to carry your luggage? You can move or not, but let me tell you, I'm going to tell you, I will live in this house sooner or later. She finally dropped the act. Quite a bold statement. I sneered. Nice daydream, to end up like the beloved heroine of a novel. You really are a rare flower, thick-skinned as a city wall. Do you really have no clue how that cat came into the picture? So what, Gu Xinyan? I've told you, if I could snatch something from you once, I can do it again. I'm already tired of staying at your place. I really like the #1 mansion. Only a house like that suits me. You're right. Compared to the Lu brothers, Guizhou is less than a maggot in a latrine. You can keep Jiang Chen. I've lost interest in him. Why don't we each go our own way? You go back to the Gu family, and I'll move into the Lu residence. I've never seen someone so shamelessly thick-skinned in my life. Dang Yang truly shattered my perceptions. My temples throbbing. I won't let you have your way, she smirked casually, her tone both arrogant and unrestrained. Then we'll see if you have what it takes. Soon, Dang Yang couldn't be arrogant anymore. Madame Lu suddenly announced that the family would temporarily move abroad. Although Chairman Lu had recovered, he still needed to continue rehabilitation, and the medical team overseas recommended not returning home yet to ensure he could receive checkups at any time. After some thought, Madame Lu decided to move the family to Europe. They would return after 3 to 5 years, once Chairman Lu's health was better. After all, their business in China was well managed by others, and they didn't need to worry much. The house would also be looked after. Dang Yang's expression upon hearing this news was as if she'd been bombed. After being dazed for a while, she finally found her voice. So, your whole family is moving abroad. Yes, and you should probably take the clown cat back with you. Lu Yixuan handed Dang Yangyang the cat food along with the clown cat, her expression still confused. She stared blankly at me. What about Gu Xinyan? Xinyan will of course go with us, Lu Yixuan said matter-of-factly. On what basis? Dang Yangyang exclaimed, her eyes shooting a fierce and hateful glance at me, as if I had just ripped out her heart. Her intense reaction left Lu Yixuan somewhat puzzled. What do you mean, on what basis? Realizing her outburst, Dang Yangyang's expression turned flustered. I mean, her parents will miss her. She can't go with you. That's probably something she should decide for herself. Xinyan, do you want to go with us? Something crossed my mind. I heard from Uncle Lin that you used to live in a castle in France. That was bought by my grandfather a long time ago. In Lyon, in the south of France. Why? Lu Yixuan looked at me, puzzled. I smiled. Well, I've never lived in a castle before, so I definitely want to check it out. Lu Yixuan seemed relieved, subconsciously patting my head. Don't worry, I guarantee you'll fall in love with it after one day. Dang Yangyang almost bit her lip bloody, her fingers digging deep into her flesh. She tried her best to restrain herself, but her face was still dark as thunder. That night, Uncle Wang drove me back to the Gu family home, since I was going abroad next month. I wanted to sort through my belongings stored at home to see if there was anything necessary to take. Dang Yangyang was also in the car, holding the clown cat. Her expression made me feel like she could strangle the clown cat at any moment. Finally, when we arrived home, she threw the cat on the ground and turned her head, facial contortion. Gu Xinyan, feeling proud, aren't you? Of course, I am proud, especially seeing her on the verge of madness. It's simply delightful. I wouldn't say I'm proud, but I'm in a good mood. Dang Yangyang gritted her teeth. So what if you went abroad? You're just a minor character destined to fail. True, this minor character is finally getting away from you, the beloved heroine of our group. From now on, we'll each go our separate ways, completely unrelated. Best wishes to you and Jiang Chen for a sweet and loving life. As for me, I've recently found Lu Yixuan quite handsome, and since we're not real siblings, you know what I mean. Dang Yangyang had been eyeing Lu Yixuan for a long time, perhaps already fantasizing about her married life with him and living in mansion no. 1. My words were akin to a stab to her heart. Sure enough, the next second, Dang Yangyang's expression could be described as ferocious, having lived 2 lifetimes. I finally experienced the sheer thrill in this moment. Yangyang, what are you yelling about? A voice came from the entrance. It turned out to be my parents returning. Xinyan, you're back. Mom looked surprised to see me, just came to get some things. I'll be leaving soon. I responded indifferently and headed to my room. Soon after, my mom came to my room and started a chat, obviously hinting she had something to say, but I didn't want to ask directly. Xinyan, your dad and I have discussed it, and since you like the room on the 2nd floor, we'll let you have it. Yangyang agrees too. How ironic. Delayed concern is less valuable than weeds. No need. I'm going abroad next month and won't be back for a few years. You guys can use the house however you want. Mom looked slightly shocked. You're going abroad? Yes, Mrs. Lu has decided to move to France temporarily, and I'll be going with their family. I'll probably finish my high school there. Mom's face changed, her tone filled with blame and dissatisfaction. Do you really plan to never return to this home? You 4 seem to be living happily without me. I'm also very happy over there. It's better this way, we won't disturb each other. Gu Xinyan, don't forget who gave birth to you. Of course, I haven't forgotten. Don't worry, once Dad turns 60, I'll start sending you living expenses every month. No need. If you really want to show gratitude, introduce Mrs. Lu to your father now. I stopped packing, understanding her real motive. I had seen this coming. In my past life, around this time, my father Gu Hongbin's company faced financial difficulties and nearly collapsed. It was my mother who urged me to seek help from Mrs. Jiang Chen's mother. Mrs. Jiang had always liked me, virtually considering me her daughter-in-law since I was a child. Before Dang Yangyang entered our lives, I thought I would marry Jiang Chen, but as things changed and my relationship with Jiang Chen deteriorated, nothing came of it. Mrs. Jiang liked me as much as she disliked Dang Yangyang. She always felt Dang Yangyang was cunning and had ulterior motives, seeing her like Su Yingmei from Eve's Temptation. I must say, I agreed completely with Mrs. Jiang's view. After Jiang Chen fell for Dang Yangyang, Mrs. Jiang felt guilty towards me. Knowing my deep feelings for Jiang Chen, she didn't hesitate to help our Gu family through tough times when I asked for her assistance. It was only with the financial backing from the Jiang family that my father's company was able to recover and get back on track. Unexpectedly, in this life, my mother changed her mind and asked me to seek help from Mrs. Lu. Indeed, Mrs. Lu, the chairman's wife of Hanlin Group, has far more influence than Aunt Jiang. I gave a cold smile. Give me a reason. Your father's company is in trouble and needs funds. Sorry, I can't help. My mother looked at me in disbelief. Gu Xinyan, we are your biological parents. Can't you do even this small thing for us? Have you forgotten how you were raised all these years? I smirked. So, you remember I'm your biological daughter? Why does Dang Yangyang get a room upstairs with a luxury bath and floor-to-ceiling windows? While I'm put in the maid's room on the first floor, why does Dang Yang attend a prestigious high school that costs 600,000 a year, while I was sent to a normal high school that costs only 10,000 a year? What 10,000 a year normal high school? Aren't you also at Hanlon Academy? She interrupted impatiently, because in the last life, that's how you treated me. I couldn't help but shout. You and Dad spent a fortune on Dang Yang's wedding in a 5-star hotel. Millions for Guizhou to study abroad, but wouldn't spend a dime on my medical bills. In the previous life, a few days before Dang Yang's wedding, Guizhou returned from France to attend, and the family was joyous. During those days, I had a severe cold and work wasn't going well, so I called my mom. You better not come to Yang wedding. She still holds a grudge against you for seducing Jiang Chen. It's best you two don't meet. We can't afford to lose face. My mother's words made me shiver. The seduction she mentioned referred to a year ago, on the day Dang Yang and Jiang Chen got engaged. I accidentally got drunk, and the next morning found myself in Jiang Chen's bed. Dang Yang nearly passed out from crying, but eventually, Jiang Chen swore that he fell asleep and nothing happened, and she forgave him. The two reconciled as if nothing had happened, but I was almost laughed out of teeth by relatives from both the Gu and Jiang families. My dad immediately announced he was disowning me, saying he'd rather not acknowledge having a shameless daughter like me. From then on, his wealth would only go to Guizhou and Dang Yang. Everyone sympathized with Jiang Chen and Dang Yang, blaming me, the schemer, for ruining the couple's engagement ceremony, but the truth was, I never drank. On the day of the engagement, I only had a glass of orange juice handed to me by Dang Yang, and then I lost consciousness. No one was willing to listen to my explanation, not even my closest family members. Furious and trembling, I finally coaxed the truth out of her on the morning of her wedding day over the phone. Maybe the impending happiness clouded her judgment, making her lower her guard. Over the phone, Dang Yang proudly spat out the truth. Yes, the drug in your glass was indeed placed by me. So what? Who would believe you? Gu Xinyan, Jiang Chen's mother likes you too much, and you, a mere supporting character, are just too inconvenient. I had to teach you a lesson. That was exactly what I needed from her. Is that so? I wonder if you can still smile so proudly at the wedding in a bit. Realizing she was being recorded, Dang Yang quickly reacted, and in a desperate move, had one of her obsessive admirers stab me to death. In the end, I died alone in that quiet, dirty alley. Remembering that tragic and pitiful version of myself in the past life, my hatred freely spread. Yet my mother looked at me with disdain. Have you gone mad? Babbling about what? After a long while, I finally managed to regain my composure. Why do you think that by introducing Mrs. Liu to you, she would unconditionally inject funds? I don't want to be involved in your affairs, nor be accused of leveraging gratitude for personal gain. Solve it yourselves. I ignored my mother's words and crisply sent a video to Aunt Jiang. Afterwards, I turned off my phone for a week and informed the housekeeper Lin. Anyone looking for me at Mansion No. 1 will not find me. Half a month later, my dad indeed went bankrupt. The houses in prosperous southern Jiangsu were listed online at extremely low prices. And to evade creditors, I heard the whole family planned to move to the countryside. Dang Yang realized the severity of the situation and hurried back to look for Jiang Chen, only to find that he had already gone abroad. She didn't even know which country he had gone to. Dang Yang shamelessly went to find Zhang's aunt, but only received a fierce glare in return. The reason turned out to be a video I had sent. It was a video of Jiang Chen kneeling on the ground, desperately pleading with Dang Yang. At that time, Dang Yang was in the process of pursuing Louis Xuan and had already agreed to be Jiang Chen's girlfriend. However, she quickly changed her feelings and dumped him. Unaware that Jiang Chen was obsessively in love, he kept clinging on and wouldn't let go. Coincidentally, I was going home to pick up some things that evening and managed to film that short video at the doorstep. Seeing her son so humiliated, Zhang's aunt, who already disliked Dang Yang, was furious to the point of nearly having a stroke and quickly arranged for Jiang Chen to drop out of school and go abroad. When my parents later went to ask for help, the proud and haughty Aunt Jiang outright declared she was cutting ties with the Gu family, and so, my dad went bankrupt. Upon learning all this, I was quite calm. In my heart, their family and I had long been strangers. On Friday, I saw my dad at the school gate. He looked very haggard, as if he had aged 10 years overnight. The family car had been replaced with a Wuling Hongwang, and today, he was there to handle the transfer of Guizhou and Dang Yang to a school in the countryside. Both seemed to be transferring to a rural school. Guizhou looked utterly listless, like a frostbitten eggplant. As for Dang Yang, she appeared quite calm, but I knew she was just pretending to be composed. Being the beloved heroine of the story, she had really gone off the rails this time. If she hadn't made a mess of things, she could have easily won Jiang Chen's heart, even if Zhang's aunt didn't like her. It wouldn't have stopped her from marrying Jiang Chen right after graduation and becoming his pampered young wife. She could have enjoyed a life of luxury, spending her days at tea parties with friends, shopping to her heart's content. Now, everything had turned into nothing more than a fleeting illusion. All her years of hard work went down the drain overnight. Dang Yang had struggled to make it out of a small-town orphanage, and now she was being sent back to square one, back to the countryside. How could she possibly accept this? She must be heartbroken. When my dad saw me, his expression was grim, but upon seeing Louis C. by my side, he said nothing. Uncle Wang's car had arrived. As I walked over and closed the car door, I caught Dang Yang Yang's gaze unexpectedly. I felt a chill run through me. Exaggeration aside, she looked like a venomous snake, staring at me with cunning and malice. It was chilling to the bone. I still called Gui Zhou to warn her to be cautious around Dang Yang Yang. Gu Xinyan, what else do you want? The voice on the phone was noticeably upset. What do you mean? What else? Our family has already suffered so much because of you. And you still come to gloat. I know you're going abroad. Big deal. You're amazing. Just don't call again. I wanted to hang up, but I asked one last question. What do you mean suffered because of me? Guizhou sneered dismissively. You're really something. Gu Xinyan, our parents raised you. And yet you just watch as our family goes bankrupt without lifting a finger to help? I'd like to see what sort of end you people will meet in the future. Don't worry. I've already been through the worst. As for you, you're just getting what you deserve. As soon as I finished speaking, there was a sharp click from the other end of the phone. On Saturday, my mom called to say they were moving to the countryside in a few days. Xinyan, your dad, and I would like to invite Mrs. Liu and her family for a meal. After all, you've been staying at their place for so long, and soon you'll be going abroad with them. They really never give up. No need. We don't have time. How can you not have time? I promise. We just genuinely want to express our gratitude. Do you think I would believe you? There was silence on the phone for a moment. Xinyan, I've been thinking about a lot of things recently and feel quite sorry for you. Before you go abroad, I want to apologize and truly thank Mrs. Liu, with no other intentions. Can you agree to this? After a long pause, Mrs. Liu isn't home these days. Then, I'll ask if Louis Xuan is available. That works, as long as our intentions are clear. The next day, Guizhou sent me the location of the farm. Before leaving, I was still hesitant and held on to Louis Xuan. You really don't have to go. I can handle it myself. He narrowed his eyes, a smile curving at the depth of his brows. It's just a meal with your parents. Are you too nervous? I sighed. There's definitely no good coming from them. They might even ask you for money. Please just ignore them. Louis Xuan obediently nodded. Okay. I'll listen to you. Since it was for dinner, we arrived at the farm in the late afternoon. My mom warmly greeted Louis Xuan, and even my dad showed a rare smile. Guizhou and Dang Yang Yang were also there. At the dinner table, Louis Xuan was graceful and charming. My mom seemed to really like him. Chatting incessantly, Dang Yang Yang was diligently pouring tea, her eyes almost glued to Louis Xuan's face. The spicy chicken was a bit too hot, and I choked. Dang Yang Yang hurried outside to get me a glass of ice water. Sister, are you okay? Meeting her concerned gaze, I took the water glass without a word and sipped a little. Meanwhile, Louis Xuan stepped out to take a call. My mom hesitated, trying to speak several times. Xinyan, Mrs. Liu's family is so wealthy. Sending a couple more people abroad wouldn't matter, right? Your brother's grades are so good. It's a pity to move to the countryside. And Yang Yang doesn't want to go either, maybe. I put down my chopsticks and looked at her expressionlessly. My mom suddenly stopped talking and didn't continue. After dinner, I felt a bit sleepy. The night had already fallen outside. If you're tired, you can rest in the guest room for a while. Let young Master Liu stay tonight. Your dad has booked several rooms at the farm, one for each of you. I just want to talk to you a bit more. A chill ran through me. It wasn't until she escorted me to the guest room door that I stopped my departing mother. Mom, you do know about Louis Xuan's identity, right? She looked at me somewhat perplexedly. Of course. What about it? Nothing. Just a reminder that he is Liu Zhenan's eldest son, the chairman of Hanlin Group, and the future heir to the entire Liu family. I hope you can keep this in mind. My mom's expression faltered slightly, her cloudy eyes seeming to shrink back. Immediately, I turned around. I know, 32. I suspected that my parents were hiding something from me. But I never imagined they would do something as crazy as arson. By the time I noticed smoke wafting into the room, flames were already shooting up the corridor. I broke out in a cold sweat and hurriedly tried to find Louis Xuan, only to discover that the door wouldn't open no matter what I did. The flames outside grew fiercer, and my heart raced even faster. Uncle Wang. Suddenly, I remembered that Louis Xuan had asked Uncle Wang to wait for us outside the farm. I quickly pulled out my phone. But before I could dial, a loud bang came from the window behind me. I turned to see Uncle Wang holding a sledgehammer, smashing the aluminum window to pieces. Miss Xinyan, quickly come out this way. Uncle Wang called to me. I rushed over and anxiously asked. What about Yixuan? Young Master Yixuan is already outside, waiting below. Relieved, I leaned out the window and sure enough, I saw him standing on the cobblestone path. I quickly climbed onto the windowsill. Although it was a bit high, I had no choice but to grit my teeth and jump. Fortunately, Liu Yixuan caught me steadily. I almost couldn't get up, my heart pounding furiously. I was terrified. Seeing my pale face, Liu Yixuan asked with concern, "What's wrong?" Clutching my chest, I said fearfully, I'm just glad you're okay, otherwise, I would have had to kill myself to apologize. He even managed to laugh. Is that an exaggeration? Not at all. Even 100 lives of mine wouldn't compensate for yours. 33, when we rounded to the front yard. The row of guest rooms we had just been in was engulfed in flames. My mother stood trembling by the flower bed, looking utterly terrified. I approached her and asked, "Mom, what on earth happened?" Seeing me, she reacted as if she'd seen a ghost. "Sinyan, you're all right. Don't tell me it was you who set the fire." Tears immediately began to fall from my mother's eyes as she shook her head frantically. It wasn't on purpose, as I thought. A chill ran down my spine. Have you lost your minds? Her tears fell even harder. It was Yang. She said that if we set the fire and staged a scene where I saved Louis Xuan during the fire, Mrs. Liu would surely send her abroad to study. She also said that you had originally saved Chairman Liu by sheer luck. We didn't expect tonight's wind to be so strong, making the fire so fierce. I was dumbfounded by Dang Yangyang's stupidity. And where are Dad and Gui Zhou? They went to call for help to put out the fire. The fire was uncontrollable. All we could do was wait for the fire brigade to arrive. Fortunately, Louis Xuan had already called 119. It wasn't long before I saw my dad and Gui Zhou stumbling towards us, seeing us. Both their faces were ashen, and they were at a loss for words. "Where's Yang?" my mom suddenly asked. The two men were stunned. Didn't Yang come out? The atmosphere fell into an eerie silence. I rather enjoyed this kind of ambience. Could she have been burned to death? The three of them visibly started trembling. If it was just her, that would be one thing, but if others were harmed, Dad, you better prepare for prison. You've seen the news before. It was as if a tightly stretched string had suddenly snapped. My dad collapsed to the ground. 34. Bad news, Deng Yang didn't die in the fire. The good news is that she's disfigured. She suffered burns over 70% of her body, and I heard she even lost her fingers. Even if Jiang Chen truly loved her, if he tries to come back to her after escaping his mother's clutches, he might be horrified at her appearance. I'm not sure about others, but Jiang Chen is definitely one to care about looks. As for my parents, although the fire didn't cause any casualties, the farm suffered a huge loss, and the owner quickly took them to court. My father is the main offender, and my mother an accomplice, facing 3 to 10 years in prison, though the exact sentence isn't clear yet. Gu Yizhou, because my parents took on some of the responsibility, and he's still a few months shy of adulthood, managed to dodge the bullet. Though he avoided prison, the mountain of debt is not a small burden. And the farm owner is no philanthropist. I heard he might have to drop out of school to work. The proud and self-assured Gu Yizhou can no longer continue the glory of his past life, becoming just another insignificant ant among the masses. Speaking of Dang Yangyang, I visited her in the hospital. She was wrapped up like a mummy, unrecognizable. The moment she saw me, she started screaming and making a fuss. Since her face was wrapped in bandages, I couldn't make out her expression. Just a pair of eyes filled with frenzied anger, from which I guessed she wasn't exactly offering me a friendly greeting. I shook my head and sighed lightly. There's nothing much, just came to see your sorry state, and I won't be coming again. Our grievances can finally end. You were probably planning to burn me alive that day, otherwise, my door and windows wouldn't have been inexplicably jammed. Maybe this is the universe's way of saying that evil brings its own punishment. Try to accept it and live a good life in the future, though that might not be likely. Each of us won once, so let's call it even. Oh, sorry, I forgot you don't have hands anymore. A harrowing wail filled the hospital room. The nurse hurried over to see what was happening, and I quickly apologized. I'm sorry, I was just trying to comfort her, but she got too agitated. 35. Leaving the hospital, Uncle Wang's car was waiting for me outside. They say it's easy to go from frugality to luxury, but hard the other way around. I've gotten used to living like a lady these days. I suppose it will be hard adjusting back. Back at number 1 mansion, I began packing my things. In fact, other than a few clothes and toiletries, there wasn't much to pack. I planned to say goodbye to Madame Liu when she returns. I should start looking for a place online. I'm not going to shoulder any of Gu Yizhou's debts. Renting a small room doesn't seem too stressful. As for tuition, after finishing this semester, I'll need to transfer immediately, as I can't afford the tuition at Hanlin Academy. A knock on the door. Come in. It was Louis' son. He immediately noticed the packed luggage on the bed, his expression subtly changing. What are you doing? I smiled at him. Just sorting some things while I have the time. Are you moving out? Pretty much. Why? Louis' son looked at me seriously. Aren't you comfortable living here? It's not that I'm uncomfortable. On the contrary, I'm too comfortable. And I'm afraid I won't be able to handle the psychological gap in the future. Besides, I really have no reason to stay here anymore. Thank you for taking care of me during this time, but all good things must come to an end. I'm about ready to leave. Louis Xuan paused for a moment, his expression unusually gentle. Where do you plan to move? I'm not sure yet. Still looking for a place. You can stay here as long as you like. It's convenient for school, and you're in the same grade as Louis C. I might transfer to another school next semester. His eyes widened in surprise. Why? He truly seemed oblivious to the ways of the world. I was about to explain when Louis Xuan seemed to understand. Hanlin Academy has several scholarships available every year that cover full tuition. You really don't need to transfer. Really? This was the first time I'd heard of it. If I could get one of those scholarships, there would be no need to transfer. As for living arrangements, I really don't like being indebted to anyone. Originally, I moved here because it was mutually beneficial with Mrs. Liu. I saved Chairman Liu's life, and she helped me with my revenge. Now, we are even. I remember you once said we're both characters in a book. You're the cannon fodder female side character, and I'm just a passerby without even a name. Louis Xuan, as if recalling something, stared at me intently, waiting for my response. I indeed had that conversation with him. That day, I stumbled upon a news report about Lu Shannon, the city's wealthiest man and chairman of Hanlin Group, suddenly going missing. Seeing the news, I had an epiphany. In my past life, I had come across the same news. His favorite pastime was to ditch his bodyguards and venture alone into the wilderness. He ultimately met his demise in a freak accident. Chairman Liu had fallen off a cliff while climbing Wuji Mountain due to delayed rescue and prolonged unconsciousness. He died at the age of 50, I remember. In my previous life, the search team found him on the third peak of Wuji Mountain. With that clue, I immediately rented a car to Wuji Mountain, searched alone in the deep mountains for half the night, and finally found Chairman Liu, who had been unconscious for 2 full days. I fired a flare and called the citizen hotline. Soon after, a helicopter hovered overhead. In the hospital, Louis Xuan first saw me and strangely asked why a girl would appear in the deep mountains in the middle of the night. Oddly enough, I told him the truth. To this day, I still remember his indescribable expression at that time. You didn't believe it? Louis Xuan shook his head. I've actually believed you for a while now. Can you tell me what ultimately happens to my dad in the original story? I paused, then said, he passed away after lying unconscious in the mountains for 7 days. The search team arrived too late. Louis Xuan didn't seem too surprised, as if he had anticipated my answer, suddenly raising his head, his eyes bright and his tone sincere. Sinyan, you may never understand what my dad meant to me and our family. You can stay in our house forever, and even make any request of me. I knew Louis Xuan wasn't confessing his feelings but expressing gratitude, but it was still too charming. Any request? He smiled lightly. Yes. My heart raced. It was like being given a powerful sword. Louis Xuan seemed too generous towards me. What if one day I asked you to be my boyfriend? Well, why not stay if it's free? I'm not one to be overly sentimental. Besides, who could resist Louis Xuan's gentle tone? So, I continued living at one mansion until I graduated high school. And then I went to France for university with Liu Yixi in the same year. Coincidentally, it was the prestigious school once attended by a previous acquaintance, Guizhou. On my first day, I wandered around the picturesque campus. Louis Xuan took many beautiful photos of me, and later couldn't resist sharing them on social media. Guizhou, whom I hadn't contacted in years, liked the post. I didn't say anything, my heart didn't even flutter. To me at that moment, he was no different from a stranger. Our life paths were like 2 lines crossing and then diverging, growing ever more distant.